It's time for American V-Twin Racing MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round is MotoAmerica Superbike Speed Fest at Monterey. From Mission King of the Baggers, our 6th round of 9 for 2024 from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in beautiful Monterey, California. Hi everybody, welcome to the broadcast. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now Jason, yesterday's race was kind of a weird one. Kyle Wyman dominated, but then we had a big crash. But the championship is the big talking point because Kyle Wyman regains the lead in the championship.
And I feel like Kyle came in here with a lot of confidence to Laguna Seca. It's a track he's done well at before, Greg. And, you know, he got pole position right off the bat. He did have a small off in qualifying, but that's really the only time he's put a wheel wrong all weekend. He got a great start with Hayden Gillum right behind him. It was this battle for third early between Herfoss and Rocco Landers that would get spicy as you see Troy fall off here in turn 10. I've never seen that accident before. He will rebound from this. It was also the fact that Hayden Gillum, our defending champion, made 2 big mistakes on the last lap to actually let Rocco by. So Rocco has really found some form. But this is the guy of the hour at the moment. He takes over the points lead, and now we got to see if Troy Herfoss can fight back.
Yeah, for Troy Herfoss, as of late, it doesn't feel like it's been the season starter he had because the 3-time Australian Superbike champ and class rookie comes out, gets a couple second-place finishes. You can see by Atlanta, he goes double win, and then he wins second place by Road America. But Brainerd wasn't great to him. He only scored 25 total out of 50 points available. And so far, as of yesterday here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, he's only scored 5 points. He's definitely looking to rebound. But Jason, you got to contest with this amazing racetrack.
Yeah, Laguna Seca, obviously world famous, up over turn 1 there, down into turn 2, which is going to be the first hard braking zone for them. 3 and 4 can get tricky, especially because they're so flat, but really the corkscrew, turn 7, turn 8, that's what everybody comes here to see. Down through Rainy, and then that exit at turn 10 where we saw Troy make his mistake. Got to get a good run out of there, especially if you're trying to pass somebody on that last lap into turn 11.
So a great racetrack here, but how about this young man, Rocco Landers, in the last 3 races, 2 podiums. He's really starting to get this figured out. Can he have the pace to win?
We continue here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. You hear the bikes now getting up to speed for the warm-up lap. Roger, very different conditions than what these riders had for the morning warm-up. We had that thick fog in the area. If you remember back, it had started to break up just a little bit during their morning warm-up session. What are they looking for here?
The grip feels like on their tires, and you'll see guys pushing pretty hard on this lap just to see exactly how the track feels. This is really your only lap to really get a good feeling of what the track's like.
A couple of the riders that didn't go out in the morning warm-up. We already talked about Hayden Gillum had to pull back in to the paddock area. Bobby Fong didn't get any laps this morning, nor did Max Flinders. So as we get closer to racing, we're going to go ahead and go back over to Greg, Jason, and Hannah.
Coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series, by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps, and by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
Back at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, Mission King of the Baggers. Scheduled for 9 laps in this one. Let's take a look at our race 2 grid. It's Kyle Wyman, Rocco Landers, and Hayden Gillum occupying the front row.
Yeah, it's an all Harley front row. Then we have Herfoss, Fong, and Rispoli back there in row 2. Expect to see Tyler O'Hara moving forward, Greg. He's going to be starting from row 3 with Flinders and Lewis, with Corey West, Wyman, and Spina rounding out the field. Talked to Tyler O'Hara this morning. They've just had a couple problems with his bike this weekend. And Ruben Chouse there, I'm sorry, on row 5. But he just had a couple, they've had a couple little weird problems that they've never really had. And so, Tyler, that's why he's qualified in 7th. And he did a tremendous job yesterday in the Hooligans race that will be coming up later today as well here at Laguna Seca. But there's the 29 of Tyler O'Hara. Not used to seeing him back there, so I expect him to go forward.
All right, so left part of your screen, you're going to see those red lights go on, and when they go off, we're going to get to racing. So as soon as they go on, you're going to start hearing these big V-twins rumble on. And we're away racing. It looks like the front row got a decent launch. Although it looks like Hayden Gillum gets swallowed up a little bit. Rocco Landers back into like 5th spot is the 97. So look who's leading.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wants to do too. Kyle Wyman's going to try to get out front. I think for Hayden Gillum, he wants to eliminate mistakes as he takes an immediate shot at Kyle going into turn 3. He's not going to be able to make that. Kyle does such a really nice job of handling the corner speed on this Harley. He's able to open up the radiuses and just let go of that lever and roll. And all weekend long, he has been the class of this field. Also, Bobby Fong there in 3rd. So Bobby didn't even get out for practice this morning. So he's done a good job. And look at the 2 factory Indians fighting each other all the way up that hill between turns 5 and 6. Rocco Landers from the front row did not get the best run through the first couple corners. He's locked in behind the Indians in the moment, as is James Rispoli, I believe. You can see big gaggle there for, look at this, all this mess going up here into the corkscrew. Rispoli has done a good job of getting himself past a couple people, as you see Jake Lewis, Ruben Chouse, and Travis Wyman come through the corkscrew.
Max Flinders as well on the 88.
Yeah.
So the 3 out front, and Bobby Fong is definitely can be a danger man in this one. And Kyle Wyman on the first lap a couple corners ago, searching for some grip. Big drive onto the front straightaway. Hayden Gillum trying to match that drive. To the line they come, and from a standing start, a 129.9.
Wow, that is so fast from a standing start when you consider, I think there was it a high 28 or mid 28 was pole position, as Corey West pulls the 13 Saddlemen Harley into pit lane. So frustrating start to his day, because he's got another one of these races, or another race coming up after this as well. But for Hayden Gillum, I think, Greg, saw a lot of frustration from him on the podium. He put a lot of that blame on himself, and I think that he's going to try to stick close to Kyle, make that pass when he thinks he can without trying to make any of those big mistakes. Herfoss is 4th. Then you have Rispoli and Rocco Landers, and just behind them O'Hara. So again, Tyler was up ahead of these guys. Didn't get to really see how they ended up going past him. Top 3 guys trying to break away, but Herfoss is making a charge right now to get himself up. You got to remember, this championship battle has been so close all year. With Kyle winning yesterday and Herfoss's mistake, it opened up a little bit of a gap for the factory Harley.
Going through turn number 6, 2 turns ago, the STI Roland Sands Racing Indian motorcycle, Bobby Fong. Little tentative on the tip into turn number 6, and that created another 2 or 3 bike length gap. But look at him close that gap.
Yeah.
Heading down the hill, all eyes on the number 50 as they head into the final corner, turn number 11. And onto the straightaway they go to make it 7 laps to go, and Kyle Wyman off of that 29.9 standing start, having a good run. They come across 28.8 with Bobby Fong, the fastest lap of that race. Let's check in with the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa.
For James Rispoli, it's been an up and down weekend. He's had a bit of a midseason lull, but this morning he was finally able to find some time. When I talked to the crew, they told me it was a combination of both rider confidence and just overall disposition, but also they found a good base setup in testing that James really liked, that they kind of based their setup for this weekend off of. So hoping to carry that same positive vibes and attitude throughout these 9 laps.
Well, James always has a positive attitude without question, even when the chips are down, but it's just a matter of, we have seen this motorcycle under Rispoli all weekend, Jay, as we've watched practices and qualifyings in the race. It just got so much movement to it, and I think that James continues to search for grip all across the spectrum.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than grip too, and there's a lot of different factors that go into racing these bikes, and everything. As Hayden Gillum takes a shot now at Kyle Wyman, so Kyle now knows he's got a big fight in his hands, and he's going to have to be careful, because going down into turn 10 where we saw Bobby Fong was so good, he's close enough to make a move on Kyle. If Kyle doesn't get out of here perfect, he does though. So Bobby Fong's going to be eyeing up that spot, that 33, but Hayden Gillum does a good job getting past. Kyle looks over his shoulder and sees he does have somebody right behind him currently as well. But this is dangerous for these guys too, because Gillum, when he gets into a rhythm, we've seen him win on this bike before here for that Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson team. And let's just see how he's able to handle the pace at the front. We'll start to pay attention to some of the lap times here as Bobby Fong's got that thing backed in on the inside of Kyle Wyman.
So as they exit turn number 2, betting is now available for MotoAmerica fans. Go to nxtbets.com/playma. nxtbets.com/playma. For more information, visit MotoAmerica.com.
Closing the book on what we were talking about with Rispoli. it's a matter of just getting here and remembering why you're here. Try to have a little bit of fun on the bike, because there's been so much other little outside pressures and things going on for him. And he loves his team, he loves the crew, he loves everything about it. And for James, it's just a matter of getting back down to some fundamentals, working on some things on his own, working on himself, and continuing to communicate with that crew. So a little bit of run so far for him. As you can see here, Rocco Landers looks to go up underneath James in turn 11. Can you make this? I mean,
oh, there's a little bit of contact. Oh,
I know James
Rocco,
is
did you see the front wheel? It was completely off the ground and sideways.
Yep.
Wow.
They're battling. And see, Rocco's got the confidence now to stuff it up the inside of these guys. At the beginning of the year, it wasn't unlike anything to see Rocco some 10 seconds, 12 seconds behind, but he's gotten used to that bike now. Here's Tyler O'Hara running back in that 7th spot. And again, just probably struggling with something. Kyle Wyman is still glued to the back of Hayden Gillen. Been watching Bobby Fong a little bit too, as Kyle has a shot as they come up under the bridge there. He makes that pass up over the top of turn 1.
Long way around for the number 1 plate. He's got to do it. He looked like Kyle had position, but he had to let off. But Kyle, nice and tight, is able to get a good drive. And look at these 620-pound motorcycles searching for grip. No traction control, but number 1 goes back to the front.
You can see the respect there. You know, Kyle gave him some room. Kyle could have picked that Harley up on the exit of turn 2 and kind of closed off Hayden Gillen. He did not. And you know, when you're in a title hunt the way Kyle Wyman is, you also have to use your head a lot, because you don't want to risk taking yourself out trying to do a maneuver that might be a little bit questionable, and he didn't. But when those guys fight like that, that 17 of Troy Herfoss is going to see that up ahead of him. He went 28.9 that last time by. Kyle went 28.6. So fastest lap of the race for the 33 is he's going to take another look, possibly. Nope, just closes up on the back of Gillum.
And after this race, we have only 3 rounds remaining, and Mission King of the Baggers is joining us for all of them. So after this, there'll be 6 races remaining in the season for this class. And the championship, as it started, was Kyle, 7 points ahead of Troy Herfoss, who's back in 4th place. And we've seen Herfoss, Jason, get some so-so starts lately, but we'll be keeping an eye on his lap times, because he normally is able to really start making a charge toward the end of this race. This will be 4 laps to go. Bobby Fong not having a great time in turn number 11. Once again, the number 1 goes. Kyle Wyman goes by the number 1. Down into turn number 2 they go. Kyle Wyman is able to hold it nice and tight, so he'll hold on to the lead. Hannah?
And Bobby Fong's got a front row to all these passes that are being traded out front. When I talked to the team just now, I asked about Bobby missing that practice. They said his foot was bothering him, and even though he's a little bit down on laps today, you'd never know it. He's really comfortable on the motorcycle, and it's been really reliable all weekend, and that's when Bobby Fong can really be a problem for the rest of the field, is when his equipment is running well.
Yeah, and we have to imagine that foot was from his Steel Commander Superbike crash yesterday. But Fong.
But that's experience, isn't it, that Hannah's talking about right there? That he had the confidence, and you know, I saw his bike sitting on pit lane. I saw he didn't go out, and didn't realize he was injured at the time. But he has confidence in himself and in his ability to be able to run up at the front. We've seen him win these races as well. So for Bobby, it doesn't surprise any of us to see him battling for a win again. He took a round off at Brainerd on the bagger, in the baggers class. And he's still in here right for the fight. These guys all went low 29s that last time by. It just dropped Troy off the back a little bit. Troy went 29.3.
Yeah, there's not a lot of drafting necessarily in passing here, but it's like if you lose that toe, it's hard to make up that gap. So Revzilla Motul, Vance and Hines, Harley Davidson rider number 1, Hayden Gillim, starting to drop a little bit from the 33, the Harley Davidson Factory Racing Road Glide of Kyle Wyman. But the one thing we know about WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is this definitely can be an accordion. You get a little bit closer here, and then you lose a little bit of ground there. The technical racetrack. Now we're at the bottom, the flat section of Laguna Seca. Very technical track in terms of where you got to hit your marks. If you rush these corners too hard, you can definitely lose some ground. But Bobby Fong still hanging in there as these 2 Harley Davidsons lead this Indian around this racetrack.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, for Kyle, he's going to know that he's in a battle all the way to the end here, and he's going to have to play a little bit defensive. He's going to have 2 to go this next time by. He just went 28.2. the thing is he's just pulling Hayden and Gillum along. Gillum is really good up here at the top of the hill on the brakes, and then as soon as they start heading down the hill again, he's pretty fast. Kyle on Friday going through the middle of the corkscrew, when I watched, was so quick in that transition, but you can see what's happening here. He goes 28.207. Remind me again what they qualified at, Greg, just out of curiosity. 28.6 for Gillum, 28.5 for Bobby Fong, 29 flat back there for Herfoss. And Rocco Landers has made the pass on Rispoli back there for the top 5. So James and Rocco are going kind of back and forth, and they're only a second off the back of Herfoss at the moment.
The qualifying time for Kyle, pole position, was a 28.182.
Wow. So he almost
Hayden
did.
Gillum's fastest lap was a 28.7, and Bobby Fong's qualifying lap was a 29.2, Jay, and Bobby Fong's already gone 28.5.
That's right. So Kyle's only a 10th off of his fastest, from qualifying, and he did that with 4 laps to go, or 3 laps to go, as they're catching the first back marker here, and they get by him relatively easily. You can see the pace of the front has just dropped Bobby Fong off the back ever so slightly. 28.3s for the 2 leaders, 28.7 for Bobby Fong. And, this is a really important 25 points if Kyle can get this and put that in his pocket, especially with Herfoss back there in 4th at the moment. So we're looking at another 12-point swing here in this championship.
Lap and a half to go. Mission King of the Baggers race number 2. The number 1 plate. Trying to make a move, and he does it so early up in the corkscrew. Boy, I thought he would wait till the last lap to try to make that move. It was late on the brakes, but early in terms of the race, I thought he was going to try to make that move on the last lap. The number 1 saw the opening. He dove in there, and he takes over the spot.
Now it's a matter of what's 20 points mean for Kyle. I know when they come up this front straightaway, he has shown that he's able to pass him on the left. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gillum move over to the left a little bit. Nope, he doesn't. He kind of stays right where he's at. He cleans that last turn really well. We got the white flag out, and Hayden Gillum's leading it. And as you can see, Bobby Fong, another big problem for Bobby. The bag has actually fallen off the right-hand side. So Herfoss, this helps him now, doesn't it? I mean,
it certainly does.
And I didn't see why Bobby pulled. Obviously, the bag had a problem, but I'm not sure if there was a mechanical as well.
Now, Kyle Wyman leads this championship, so Herfoss, in order to gain any back, would have to put him, Herfoss would have to be in front of Kyle, but the difference there between 20 points for second and 13 points for 4th now goes 20-6, so it's only 4 points difference. So the lead for Kyle Wyman, if he stays in second place on this final lap, would be 11 as we head off to the summer break. But does Kyle Wyman have an opportunity to pass Hayden Gillum possibly at the top of the corkscrew? Hayden is so good up here. Here we go. The opportunities are running out for Kyle Wyman.
That's a tough pass. It's going to be that would have been a hard pass for Kyle. We know how strong Hayden is in there, and I got to think that right now Kyle Wyman is thinking to himself, I'll take these 45 points, I'll walk off. Hayden Gillum has not made a mistake today. He's riding absolutely perfect. You heard him yesterday blame himself for the mistakes that he made, and the team deserved more. And just out of our shot too, I think Rocco Landers is all over the back of Herfoss for that final spot, but it looks like it's going to be Hayden Gillum to win.
Revzilla, Motul, Vance and Hines, Harley Davidson, the drag race to the checkered flag. Kyle trying to make a move, and it's going to be Hayden Gillum, who holds on by a 1/10 of a second over Kyle Wyman. Rocco Landers.
Unreal. What a job from Rocco Landers right there. We have a problem with our scoring, Greg. I know you're looking at the screen, but it's been going back and forth. Rocco Landers looked like he got 3rd. And there it is right there for you on your screen. Rocco Landers 3rd, Herfoss 4th, and Rispoli 5th.
There you go, yeah. So Rocco doing a solid for Harley Davidson as the motor company in terms of the battle between Indian and Harley Davidson, as Rocco Landers able to get another podium and Troy Herfoss shuffled back to 4th. We'll talk to Hayden Gillum after that big win when we return.
Continuing with you here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Look how pumped up Hayden Gillum is. I mean, you said it before this race started, Roger. He was so hard on himself even after that podium finish yesterday, and then to go home with the win.
Yeah, he talked about he's been letting the team down a little bit this weekend, and there's no better way to repay all those guys than go out and get a win like that. And Hayden has talked about his mistakes. I mean, that was an awesome race by Hayden. He never put a wheel wrong. He was aggressive when he needed to be, and just such a good ride for Hayden. And he really needed that. He has struggled a little bit this weekend, you know, just mentally here, and get this season back on track there where he wants to be, back up winning races.
I love that shot there of Hayden Gillum and Troy Herfoss. Look at Hayden stopping to say thank you to all of the corner workers, everybody, the volunteers that make these events possible all around the country. What a champion Hayden Gillum is for this sport. Did you see that shot there with Herfoss bowed to him?
Well, I mean, and for Troy, he's glad Hayden was able to get up there and beat Kyle. I mean, that was five points toward you know, Troy's championship, so that was big. But for Hayden, it's all about the win. And just look at the way they wheelie these baggers. I have no idea how they're able to do that.
No, it is incredible what these riders are capable of doing. We said it earlier, over 630 pounds this Mission King of the Baggers bikes weigh. And you watch these races, 9 laps, just how physical it is around here. You talked about the lack of the straightaways, and they're able just to do it so expertly. And
the Vance and Hines Harley crew struggled a little bit early on in the year. Again today, 2 bikes on the podium.
It was a great day for Vance and Hines, everyone over there under that awning. Let's go ahead and get back over to Hannah, Greg, and Jason.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2 from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, as Hayden Gillum in victory lane with team owner Terry Vance, and congratulations. Let's take a look at those results as Rocco Landers will join his teammate on the podium. So it's that 1/10 margin of victory over Kyle. Troy Herfoss in 4th place, a couple tenths behind. Rispoli in 5th, Tyler O'Hara, Travis Wyman, and Jake Lewis. Let's get down to Hannah.
Hayden Gillum just taking his gloves and helmet off here, but a big pass, second to last lap. Take us through your thought process there. Greg speculated that maybe you were going to wait until the last lap to make that move.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a run going up the hill, and that was the closest I'd been since I passed him early on, and I kind of knew I had to just take whatever shot I could. He's riding really good, and man, I'm really happy. After, you know, this morning warm-up, we had a couple issues and didn't get to do any laps, and this was the setup we were going to try this morning, and it was a big swing, and these boys, they gave me a good machine today. So Revzilla, Motul, Vance, Hahn guys are freaking, they work their butts off, and so this is pretty good, yeah.
After a frustrating result and end of the race for you yesterday, are you feeling like this is a really good way to just pay back your team for everything that they've been able to do for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. This is what they deserve, and you know, we got that #1 plate on there, and they deserve to see it at the front a little bit more often. So we're chipping away. We're getting the bike better and better every weekend, and yeah, it's just really, really good. I'm really happy. I'm happy for the team, happy for my whole family that's out here. And yeah, just really pumped for this.
Big smiles for your Mission King of the Baggers race winner, Hayden Gillum.
What a win it is. Well calculated. And Jay, those are the situations where if the door opens, you got to take it. Let's get back down to Hannah with Kyle.
You do have the championship points lead, but perhaps the end of that race didn't unfold quite like you had planned in your head.
No, I definitely wanted to try to make a break with like 4 laps to go. It took me a while to get going. I didn't really get my pace where it needed to be until about mid-race, and I thought at that point I kind of pulled the trigger, and I mean, it is what it is, right? We get held up by a lapper a little bit, and that I feel like that kind of brought him a little bit close enough to make a move, but I'm taking nothing away from Hayden because he wanted that more than I did, for sure. You know, he's a little bit back in the points, so I'm just concerned about, you know, the championship at this point. And yeah, I wanted to win that one, but I don't know. He was not going to be denied, so didn't want to play that game.
Sounds like Kyle Wyman had to balance risk versus reward today, guys.
And he did the perfect job, and Jay, that's exactly what you talked about, man. Rather take that 20 points than end up in a gravel trap, and that's exactly what the championship points leader did. Let's get back down to Hannah with Rocco Landers.
Rocco, take us through that last lap. Caught Troy Herfoss right at the end of that race there. How'd you get it done?
It's funny. It went from a bad weekend, went from being like hoping for maybe one top 5 to now I'm not feeling amazing off of 2 podiums. But the team has just absolutely busted their butts. It's this bike's come such a long way since I started riding it. My riding style's developed quite a lot on this thing. I'm so stoked to see 3 Harleys up here again, especially to see my teammate get a win. It's he deserves it. The whole team deserves it. It's frustrating. 3 bad starts on the weekend in the first 3 of the year, but maybe I let the pressure get to me a little bit. Coming for a win. Hopefully at Ohio we'll be able to get a little further up and knock one of these out.
Rocco Landers making for Revzilla Vansenheim bookends on an all-Harley podium.
And make no mistake, if it's down to skill, this guy has definitely got it in droves. All right, let's take a look at those point standings, Jay, because we were kind of running the numbers in our head, and here's the confirmation. Kyle Wyman with 14 points now over Troy Herfoss. Hayden Gillum 61 back. Tyler O'Hara right there. And Rocco Landers in 6th place. All right, that's Mission King of the Baggers. What an entertaining race it was. And we'll have more from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in a moment.
Continuing here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, watching on with all of the fans who made their way over to the podium area in order to celebrate these top 3 riders. And you heard Rocco Landers there in that interview with Hannah reference the 3 bad starts this weekend, of course, going back to the Mission Challenge, that 3-lap shootout that we had yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, he mentioned the pressure getting to him a little bit, and I think when he has that pace and he knows he can run at the front, just not really relax and do the starts like he can. But one thing for Rocco he can take away from here is he definitely has the pace to run with these leaders. See Scotty Parker there, 9-time champ, factory Harley rider, handing out the trophies to three Harley riders on a podium. You know he likes that. Also like what Kyle Wyman said about Hayden Gillum, that he wanted it more than me today, and just give him the credit. And Kyle rode smart, and Hayden wasn't going to be denied.
I mentioned the fact that this championship is well underway. That was race number 12 of an 18-race championship, so a lot of racing has already happened. And Kyle, he said it, I'm thinking big picture now. He said Hayden Gillum is down in the points in defense of that championship title. Kyle himself is up there in the lead now, extending that gap just a little bit today. So for Kyle Wyman, it was very smart. It was the risk versus reward, that delicate balance here in motorsports. For more coverage, let's go back over to Greg and Jason.
Mission King of the Baggers, race 2 unfolded like this.
Yeah, it was the same start as yesterday for Kyle Wyman. He tried to get his head down and put some good laps out there and get away, but this guy wasn't going to let it happen. You heard Kyle Wyman say Hayden wasn't going to be denied. Here's a good example of that. He rolls down into turn 2, right behind Kyle Wyman, only to go back up underneath him down into the corkscrew. And at this point, kind of felt like Kyle might win a championship mode here. He came in here behind in the points. Now he's coming out here leading the points. And Rocco Landers, Greg, does he win a race this year?
100%.
Yeah, I think he does too. I think he's really coming into form, and what a great stand-up wheelie we're going to get out of Hayden Gillum on the way up to the corkscrew.
Wow, who do you like giving out some trophies there, Jason? Scotty Parker.
Love that.
The number 1 going to him. All right, that's Mission King of the Baggers. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks for joining us. See you at Mid-Ohio.